Good evening and welcome to tonight's Yukon City Council, Yukon Municipal Authority work session. It is March 21st, 2023 at 6:30 p.m. We are here in the council chambers, which is in the Centennial Building, here at 12 South 5th Street in the great place of Yukon, Oklahoma. Tonight for our study session, we're going to discuss recycling survey results and recycling program ideas for Yukon. Mr. Bill?
Well, good evening, Mayor and fellow council members. I want to thank you for allowing us to come up, and we're excited to let you know the results of what the citizens sent back to us in our recycling information. We had some requests from some citizens to look a little deeper into recycling. So the first thing we did, and this is just the very first step, was send out a recycling questionnaire back in the fall. And it was just 12 questions, and we just asked some basic information to just kind of give us some guidance so that we can present to you quite a bit of information from that. So before you have the summary, which has all the questions. It has you'll have the survey, and you'll also have, in depth, how many people answered, what they answered, how many, what the results were, and everything like that. So I'm just going to go through a little bit of the results, but after you read through this, in the next coming days, please reach out to us with any questions and all that. This also helps us as we, are planning the next budget, the future, and everything for anything like this that we may want to do. I'm going to go over the recycling results, and then Arnold is going to come up and discuss a little bit more of what it takes to actually run a recycling program. So. There we go. Okay. So like I said, we sent this questionnaire out in the utility billing last fall, and we asked that you just complete one per household so we could try to get as true. It's going to be the utility bill customers that this affects. So we try to put on there, please, just answer one per household so we could get as true as result as possible. So we had 702 respondents, and that's about 8% of our utility bill accounts. So if you kind of go based on what we were told by the professionals on our community survey, 3 to 4% is usually, about what they get. So we felt pretty good about, 8%'s hopefully a good number to, that we got back. So we did make sure we put a question on there, do you live in Yukon? So we had, I think we had one survey come back that said they didn't live in Yukon. So it was online where you could access it. So, that's probably how they found out about it. But we did have 163 completed the survey online, and 539 filled them out and returned them back to City Hall. Either we had it where you could email it back, you could drop it off at several of our, the library and Jackie Cooper Gym, or even at the drive-thru at the utility billing. So, so our first question was, very basic, does your household recycle? And, the majority, 66% said yes or sometimes. So, a fairly high number. Then our next question was, do you use our current recycling center? It's just, you pull up, you put your your plastics or your cardboard in the different bins. So it's not manned. It's just you drive up during the time the gates are open. And we had 55.5% said that they do use that, or sometimes use that. Our next question was, how often do you recycle? The majority said it's about once a month. And then we asked about how much, if you do recycle, about how much do you recycle? And the majority were about 3 to 4 bags. And the nice thing after this meeting is you can follow along, and these questions in the back are even more detailed. It tells you out of the people that do recycle, 386 do recycle, and that's when it breaks it down to how many bags they use. So there's a lot more detail in the back of the summary. So our next question was question 5, and that one was, would you like to see curbside recycling in Yukon? Well, this one was at 90%. So, yes, the majority, definitely a very good response on that one. Then question 6, of course, would you participate if it was free? And again, very high number on that one. So then the next question was question 7, would you participate for a small opt-in monthly fee on your utility bill? And that's where about 58% said yes and 42% said no. So out of the ones that said yes, what type of fee would you like to see? The majority, 70%, said they would, out of the ones that said yes, said they would pay a $5 fee. And we did a quick, and Arnold may go into detail more on this, but we did kind of a quick about after you pay for the main capital, after you pay for the truck and the poly carts, we figured roughly it would take about 4,800 residents at $5 to pay just the normal operating, fees and all that. And Arnold will go into that in a little bit more detail. But 70% of the ones that said yes, they would like curbside recycling and would pay for it, said that they would pay for, they would opt in for the $5 fee. So our next question was question 9. If you participated, how often would you like it to your polycart to be emptied? And the majority, almost half, said twice a month. So, and I believe that's what Oklahoma City does with their large polycart for recycling. And then on 10, this was just some information for us as a city and a city staff to get a little bit more, where do the citizens stand on what they know about recycling, all that, because you can listen, to Arnold talk about it's easy to contaminate, and it's you have to sort it, or this and that. So we asked the question, what do you want to be better informed, or can we as a city inform you better? And that was definitely a lot that replied yes. So as a city, we if we, even whether we move forward with this plan or we move forward with plan B, or even in just staying with our current drop-off system, we can definitely better educate people through the utility bill, social media, the website on what you can recycle, the best way to recycle, how to prepare your recycling goods. So that was something we put in there, so we can hopefully better educate our citizens. And then, another question that was asked, and some of these questions came from, just the groups that have reached out to us and everything, but one was on question 11, what is your motivation for recycling? And the majority was for the environment and to conserve landfill space.
I like the one where the children encouraged them, because they really teach recycling in schools.
Yeah. Well, as a kid, like, we were talking about it, and a lot of us, when the Snyder's was here, they had the semi-trailer in the parking lot, and you took your cans up there on Saturday or whatever, and got little spending money as the kids. But so, if you don't mind, if you look through the this one, this is the summary, and again, there's a lot more detail in there. And if you have any questions or anything, just reach out to us. But we hope that this helps us get a start on a direction. That's the main thing. So now I'm going to invite Arnold up here, and he's going to go over a little bit more details on what it takes for his department to run a recycling program.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So Jason got to do the fun part, but there always has to be a Debbie Downer, so I guess that would be me. No, really, Tammy asked me to put some numbers together so you guys would know kind of initial startup and a sustainability cost. So I'll try to be brief as I can. So okay, so if we were to roll this program out tomorrow, take a roll-off or a polycart to everybody's house, we would need 8,687 polycarts.
But we would only take it to the ones that subscribed.
Well, the numbers I put together,
Yeah,
if we,
but
like
that's
Oklahoma
how-
City, we took one to
Okay.
everybody. But like Jason was saying, if we didn't, we would still need at $5. What was the number, Jason? 4,500, I believe? 4,800.
4,800, okay.
But
So
this
that-
is for everybody
yeah.
to get one. We'd have to buy a new truck. We'd have to hire a new driver and his benefits or her benefit. Fuel costs for a year. And we put some money in there, like Jason had mentioned, for community outreach and education. And then, of course, that's just an estimated disposal cost for the year. So slide 2, that's just backup for the page before. We would need over 8,000 polycarts at $50.55 each. A new truck, driver costs. Fuel expense, we average that at 11,993 miles per year. And of course, we know how fluid fuel prices are, but we average that at about $3.50 per gallon. And of course, the community outreach. And the disposal costs, we're just taking we ran the numbers best we could. We're thinking possibly 1,526 tons per year at a cost of $65 per ton. That is for commingled debris or recycle.
What does it cost us for trash?
About $18. I can get you the exact number, but there's a couple, 2 or 3 little fees, but it's roughly around $18 per
Okay.
ton to go to OEMA. So that would be the first initial, if we went $926,000, $926,932 to get started. So then the following year, or sustainability, we would need to purchase 1,231 polycarts. And then every year, we need to put some money aside. That truck only has a 7-year lifespan. And of course, the driver cost. We did not, obviously, the next few years, the driver obviously would make more. Fuel could either go up or down. And then after the first year, we only put $1,000 a year in there to educate. Because I think after the first year, we could pretty much have everyone. And then, of course, the disposal cost. By the second year, we should have a good handle on what we would need there. So once again, this is just the numbers to back that up. The polycarts, we would need to purchase 1,231 to replace broken, lost, new customers. Like I said, the truck has a 7-year life cycle, so we would need to budget $42,000 years annually to make that sustainable. And once again, on the fuel, education, and then the disposal costs. So this slide is just basically going over everything again. If we want to start up today, well, the other part of that is if we were to start up today, it may be 12 to 18 months before we could even get a truck. That's kind of how it is now. But the initial startup would be roughly $57,000. The yearly cost after that is roughly $290,000. So we broke that down. That would cost if everyone participated, we averaged that would cost $2.78 per customer, or at a cost of $33 per year.
And that would pay for it?
That's just to break even. That is just to cover the cost that we talked about.
That's all residents?
Yes.
But then about how much do you think would be offset by us going to the dump with our trash, the landfill? I mean, we're not gonna be picking up as much trash.
Well, we could run those numbers, but you're paying $65 instead of
Right.
18, and I think those numbers were 1,500 tons, so there will be, whatever that is, $6,000.
Okay.
Roughly, I'm just off of my head. That would
And
be-
that's by doing it twice a month,
Yes.
okay?
Now, Oklahoma City has changed. They only pick up once a month now. They started out doing that twice a month, and they feel the participation, well, I don't want to speak for Oklahoma City, but they changed only one time a month.
I mean, I think And that's how my kids, they live in Tennessee, and theirs is picked up one time a month, and their polycart is sufficient to that. And I mean, they recycle everything.
So in the past, and I don't know, we had several companies come in and propose some things to the city manager, and the one we thought was the best was Recyclops. So what they basically, you have to buy the bags, but they provide you a bag, so everyone in town could just opt in, and it was $10 a month, if I remember correct, and then, or you could do $110 a year, you could save $10 for the year. And so they came in and they did their thing. They needed 400 to 500 customers to make it worth their while. And if I remember correctly, they had 35 to 40 people sign up, so it was a no-go.
And that's the one where you put your plastic bag filled with stuff out on
Yes.
the curb.
You have to set it out in your,
Yeah, and it could,
yes. And then they come around with basically a pickup and a trailer, I believe is what they were gonna start with. So with that, unless, any questions?
you guys have any questions?
Like I say, I hate to be the Debbie Downer, but
I know.
Tammy had to put that task on
Somebody has
someone.
to. Jenny, do you want to speak and ask some questions?
Yeah, I wrote down a few. First of all, I'm impressed with the amount of hard copies.
Can you
that-
say your name and address?
Oh, Jenny
please?
Davis,
Okay.
353 Choctaw Place. I'm impressed with the amount of hard copies that were returned. That was surprising because it was 500 versus 100 and something. So to me, I think that speaks to the demographic of the recycling, because every time I go to the facility, I've never been there where there hasn't been another person, but it's always someone older than me. Always. Day, weekend, doesn't matter. So I wonder if that has something to do with it. So my question was, do we know when our current capacity of the landfill would be at the current dump rate?
You know that?
I didn't understand the question.
Oh, like when our landfill would be full at the current rate or end of life for the landfill?
I'm not sure about that. I can find out and get that to you.
I'm just curious.
I believe they're fixing to start a new sale, so I believe it's 12 to 15 years, but I can get that information.
Okay, I was just curious. And, and for the startup on, education, I didn't know what was included, like pamphlet paperwork.
Yes, and actually, maybe even hire an outside firm to come in and maybe hold some town hall meetings to really, a lot of people really don't know what you can
Right.
recycle.
Well, and maybe with the polycarts, it comes with a magnet for your fridge that says number
Right.
1, number 2.
Right.
This is what you can. That's an easy way to keep it. And what was my other question? Oh, the 12 to 18 months for a truck. That's just about them building us a truck.
That's what,
Delivery of the truck, like 12 to 18 months. Okay. I think that's all I had.
You want to tell us a little bit about how you recycle?
I keep a contractor size bag in a big trash can in my garage. And right now I'm only doing plastic because I think it's probably the worst for the environment. So I have a lot more of it than anything else. So I just do plastic at this point, but I'm filling that contractor trash bag at least once a month, just with that one. And I used to have 4 bins for everything, and my whole garage was recycling. So I had to like scale down. But yeah, I think the plastic is the worst. But just for information, the aluminum is infinitely recyclable. So like plastic, they can only recycle it so many times, but you can recycle aluminum infinite amount of times.
What I've heard is that people are starting to go to not so much recycling as multi-type use. And so rather than using a plastic bottle, you use a glass bottle. And
Right.
just because recycling is expensive. I mean,
Yeah.
it costs money to do that. And
Well,
so
and we
to
can't-
educate the people on
Right.
multi-use.
And the other thing we have to remember is we can apply for that grant to get polycarts. That's a national grant.
Okay.
So that would eliminate that cost. That was like over 8,000 alone, I think, or 88,000. So anyway, that's all I had.
Do you guys have any questions of Jenny? Thank you so much, and I know that you're very interested in that. I'm very interested in it, and we do know that it's expensive. Yeah. Okay, if we have no further questions, then we will dismiss, and we will start back up at 7 o'clock for our regular meeting. This meeting's adjourned.